Okay, I'll call this meeting in order. It is now, looks like 7:01. November the 8th, 2010. Would you like to read the minutes, please?
Yeah. Cedar Green Co. minutes, October 11th, 2010. Officials present: Mike Murphy, Lisa Nance, Mike Hampton, Rick Dunaway, Derek Wilson, Charlotte Adams, and Mark Wilson. Employees present: Scott Hammock and Linda Hunter. Others present: Marlene Blacken, Steve Perkins, Anita Perkins, and Benny Edmondson. Meeting called to order by Mayor Murphy at 7:01 p.m. Minutes read. Motion to accept is read, made by Mike Hampton, seconded by Lisa Nance. Treasurer's report. Motion to accept is delivered, made by Charlotte Adams, seconded by Mike Hampton. Bills. Mark Wilson had a question on gas bills. Rick Dunaway had a question on health insurance amount. Mike Hampton made a motion to pay the bills. I got tills, I'm sorry, should be bills. Seconded by Charlotte Adams. T. Grant, letter sent to state about grant reimbursement on T21, delivered to each council member. The reimbursement amount is about $20,000. Encroachment bond and release, letter sent to the state to come down and inspect the encroachment. If they find nothing is wrong, they will send a letter stating everything is okay, then we can close out the bond. If things are not okay, the contractor needs to pay the bond due to the contractor's delay. Sewer, Mayor attended a meeting on September 29th with Carroll County Utilities. They wanted to extend the contractor's contract. The project will be completed within this week or so. Mayor is holding the contractor to the deadline. Halloween hours, Charlotte Adams made a motion to leave the hours the same as Warsaw, seconded by Mike Hampton. Sewer, a request was sent in for $26,950.50 to KIA for payment to MAC Construction. A balance in House Bill 608 is $63,714.92 for grant to pay for sewer. We did an amendment to the budget that we sent to the state to update. There were no questions from council. Siren grant, the installation would run about $4,000. Maps still have to be submitted. We have to come up with $17,000 at the beginning prior to approval. The state later reimburses it, and it could take a year or more for reimbursement. Charlotte Adams thought that that amount was a lot to put out first and then have to wait for reimbursement. The old siren was scrapped. The fire department and city council was told to pick it up, and no one did. It was cracked on the inside at the time. It was left there for over a year, so it was scrapped when no one picked it up. Steve Perkins paid $150 to have it cleaned out of his pocket to see if it could be repaired. No one took the initiative to pick it up, and it was junked. The fire department has another siren that could be used. It is a 3-phase, and it can be changed to fit the wiring. There was a discussion about Carrollton getting a new siren, and maybe we could get their old one. Mayor Murphy's going to check with the state surplus in Carrollton to see if anything is available. Lisa Nance asked if there was a possibility that the county could help out on grant money. The council agreed to have Mayor Murphy check on the availability of older sirens from other communities. Litter abatement grant, Rick Dunaway made a motion to submit the application, seconded by Lisa Nance. Motion passed. Mowing questions, Mayor reported that he had talked to Steve Perkins about 2 weeks ago. One time he went to mow and there were people using the park and he could not mow. Another time he mowed when he did not bill. As for the fence line, Steve Perkins and Sonny Ryder had an agreement to keep the fence line clean. Rick Dunaway had a concern about pop cans being cut while mowing and children getting cut on them. Steve Perkins is going to say something to the person mowing. Questions. Benny Edmondson asked about dangerous issues on the house next to the firehouse and the house on the corner of Knoll and Grace Street. One of the houses is in the bank's hands. Police Chief Ed Caldwell is going to get together with the owner to see what can be done. Someone asked if the city can condemn the house. City Attorney Scott Hammock said that the state fire marshal could do it more easily. Steve Perkins asked if we got a business license on the 2 businesses across from the post office. Mayor Murphy is going to check into it. Mark Wilson asked about the repair of Hawthorne Street. A letter has been sent to the judge to go ahead with the repairs. Mark Wilson also asked about the city decals on the police car. Mayor Murphy reported the price ranges, but nothing else was decided as to which one to purchase. Mark Wilson said he would like to see decals on the car. Rick Dunaway said that he thought we could wait for the new administration to decide if we should purchase. No action was taken. There were discussions about unmarked versus marked car. Charlotte Adams made a motion to wait to purchase decals, and Mike Hampton seconded. Motion passed. Rick Dunaway asked to bring up a matter off the record. It was a discussion about employee behavior and service. This was a matter that needs to be addressed in closed session. Rick Dunaway made a motion to adjourn, seconded by Derek Wilson. Meeting adjourned at 8:12 p.m.
Questions? Any questions? Make a motion to approve the minutes as read. Motion. Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion's passed. Well, I thought the auditor was gonna be here at 7 o'clock. At least that's our discussion today. I guess he didn't make it yet. Okay. And I want Linda to read something from Edie.
Is it from Edie or some of her friends?
It's either Edie or her husband.
Okay. I'm afraid I must be the bearer of bad news, but you all should know that Edie Bain is once again in the hospital battling cancer. The cancer she had several years ago has returned and is now affecting her lungs and her ability to breathe. The doctors removed over 2 liters of fluid from around her lungs on Tuesday, and she has a day and a half of easier breathing. But as we left the hospital tonight, she was once again fighting to get enough oxygen into her lungs. This is going to be a somewhat of a roller coaster ride for the foreseeable future, but the end is a heck of a lot closer than any of us are ready for. I came over from our new home in Missouri yesterday and will stay as long as Edie needs me to. I am here to help her finalize her affairs and help Bill and the rest of the family cope with the pain of losing her. None of us are feeling very happy about this situation. Mike, you gotta read.
That's it. But some of us are handling things better than others. I am staying at her house with Bill, so I can help manage the dogs and other stuff she needs taken care of. Not to mention helping Bill, who is not handling this well at all. Please light the candles and send us as much white light and healing energy as you can spare. We are not expecting a miracle. We would all welcome one, but are at least hoping for a peaceful and serene finish to a wonderful and accomplished life. I will try to update you as I can, but most of my energy will be spent doing Edie's bidding. And I probably won't feel up to writing a bunch of emails every night, so please bear with me and be patient.
I think it's,
Kay.
I think it might be her sister or some of her family, I'm not sure. Sister or friend, I think it's her sister.
Okay, the bills are all floating around, am I correct?
Yeah.
So we'll come back to those. Okay,
We can approve the treasurer's
oh,
report.
it's on toward the bottom. Okay, you have a pay request in the amount of $2,450 even. It goes to MSC of Kentucky,
What, I think that amount is
$2,450 even. What? Pay request for MSC of Kentucky. This is what I've already submitted to the state. I'm just making you aware of it unless you have questions about it. Looks like this. No questions? Move right on. See, I told you all it was called and say it was gonna be at 7.
He can have it in traffic.
Never judge the distance right.
It's hard.
Whoever got
Okay.
in a hurry for an auditor. Not me. Not me.
For you that don't know, this is Mr. David Baker. He's the auditor the city hired. And he is here to give his report for 07, 08, and 09, correct?
That's correct.
You may have the floor now.
Fantastic. I've got a bunch of copies in here. I'll start these and you just pass them around. These are the 07s. Everybody take one. Just pass them around. And then here are the 08s. And you can pass those around. And then, of course, 2009. And we'll let those get circulated to everybody. All right, I'm going to say right off the bat that I didn't really see a lot of problems. The city's very small, okay? So, you know, you don't have a lot of what we call internal control because you only have a couple of individuals involved. Therefore, controls are sometimes an issue with small cities. What that really means is there's not a lot of checks and balances because you just don't have enough human beings to accomplish that. And that happens a lot, especially in these small cities. This is a class 6 city. It's really nothing you can do about it because it's not economically feasible for you to do anything about it. There's just not enough money to hire a staff to work in your city when you just don't have that much funds. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. What makes more sense is to have either an auditor like myself or some kind of outside party that's looking at things on a regular basis to make sure everything's what it should.
You come back.
Does everybody have all three? There's a lot of information here. Basically, over the 3 years that we're looking at here, you had a couple of pretty significant grants. One of them was the housing grant. And because that was a federal grant, a lot of eyes on that money. Okay, the federal people had eyes on that money and we looked through it. So that's really pretty easy to deal with. Your all's money on a year-by-year basis, your taxes aren't huge, your expenses aren't huge, so there's not a whole lot to deal with. What we did is we just started at 2003, which was the last audit you had. We started with those balances and came forward through to 2009. There's been some changes in reporting since 2003, and I think in the last audit that you had, the 03 audit that you had, it discussed it briefly, what's called GASB 34. And what GASB 34 is a rule that says we have to basically do 2 sets of financial statements for a government now. You have to do what's called a GAAP set of financial statements. And you'll see those in there. Those are statements of net assets and statements of activities. And all that means is we're looking at the finances of the city the way a business would look at the finances of the city. A regular business would look at their own finances. And then you still have the what we used to call fund financial statements, which is the way governments have to function. That's an economic resource financial statement that says this is how much money we bring in, this is how much money we spend every year, and we can't spend more than we have or bring in. That's how you keep a balanced budget. So cities have to live by economic resources, but we have to report both economic resources and GAAP. And the only real difference is in GAAP, we consider things like long-term debt, which you don't have, and capital assets, which are things that you own, including infrastructure like sidewalks and roads and sewers and things of that nature. we capitalize those things and we depreciate them over time, and we expense them over time. That's really the biggest